Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to walk you through some of the most commonly corrupted movement patterns and help you to fix those in order to start feeling well throughout the day. So what we'll do is we're going to start with some self-myofascial release or self-massage in order to loosen the tight muscles in your body. Then we're going to get into a workout routine that actually will teach you how to completely change the way that you move in order to feel well. I'm excited that you've joined us. Please like this video or subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, you're going to get notifications of when we do go live, as well as any new videos that we post. So you do those right now, that way we make sure we have them done. We'll see you in a little bit. The upper part of the leg is made up of 4 different muscles known as the quadricep. The quadricep is made up of the rectus femoris, being the most superficial muscle. The vastus medialis runs on the inside, the vastus lateralis runs on the outside, and the vastus intermedius runs deep directly under the rectus femoris. The 3 deepest muscles connect on the femur and just above the knee, whereas the rectus femoris passes from the ilium all the way over the kneecap into the tibia, passing 2 joints. Using a foam roller, work the front of the quad and into the side of the TFL band with the toe and knee against the wall. Start rolling the foam roller down the quad with your hands. If you feel a tender or tight spot, hold in that position and quickly press the roller back and forth over the tight spot. Gradually work your way down the entire front of the leg toward the knee. Continue to change positions, working through the front of the quad. When you feel a tender spot, maintain pressure and quickly jostle the massage stick up and down. Then transition to the side of the leg. With the foot against the wall, press the roller in the same manner, pushing it down the side of the leg. Try to relax the leg while the foam roller works into the muscle tissue. I find this to be the best release for my IT bands. Another way to work the quadriceps and the IT band is using the massage stick. Allowing the leg to relax, start with firm pressure just above the kneecap, dragging the pressure all the way up towards the hip. Change the position slightly and continue to pull up the quad. When you feel a tender spot that feels like a knot, you're going to apply pressure and shake it back and forth. Notice the rollers are not actually moving. The pressure just stays in one spot. When you finish about 30 pulses, continue the pull up the leg. If you find there's too much tension in the quad, straighten the knee and allow the leg to fully relax. This can help you get deeper into the tissue. Again, each time you find a tender spot, continue to relax into it. Create quick movements through the tender spots and finish with a pull up towards the hip. A more intense way to work the quads is laying in a plank position using a foam roller. In this position, you can roll up and down the quads looking for the most tender part. Once you find a tender part, bend the knees and then relax down slowly. Then flex into the foam roller by straightening your knees tight. After you complete 7 to 10 repetitions there, draw circles with the feet, both clockwise and counterclockwise. Relax and breathe, adjusting as necessary, making sure you relax the quad. The final and most intense work we're going to do is with the lacrosse ball. Laying on your stomach, use a book under the lacrosse ball. Place the lacrosse ball directly on the quadricep. You may have to move the ball around to find a few different spots that are tender. When you find the most tender ones, bend the knee, allowing the muscle to stretch, and then straighten the knee, contracting the muscle over top of the lacrosse ball. Continue this for 7 to 10 repetitions. When you find a spot that needs extra attention, get yourself a little more comfortable, allowing your head to rest. Change positions by rotating the leg in or out based on the type of work that you need. To work more medially, simply roll your body over, exposing more of the inside of the leg. The upper part of the leg is made up of 4 different muscles known as the quadricep. The quadricep is made up of the rectus femoris, being the most superficial muscle. The vastus medialis runs on the inside, the vastus lateralis runs on the outside, and the vastus intermedius runs deep directly under the rectus femoris. The 3 deepest muscles connect on the femur and just above the knee, whereas the rectus femoris passes from the ilium all the way over the kneecap into the tibia, passing 2 joints. Using a foam roller, work the front of the quad and into the side of the TFL band with the toe and knee against the wall. Start rolling the foam roller down the quad with your hands. If you feel a tender or tight spot, hold in that position and quickly press the roller back and forth over the tight spot. Gradually work your way down the entire front of the leg toward the knee. Continue to change positions, working through the front of the quad. When you feel a tender spot, maintain pressure and quickly jostle the massage stick up and down. Then transition to the side of the leg. With the foot against the wall, press the roller in the same manner, pushing it down the side of the leg. Try to relax the leg while the foam roller works into the muscle tissue. I find this to be the best release for my IT bands. Another way to work the quadriceps and the IT band is using the massage stick. Allowing the leg to relax, start with firm pressure just above the kneecap, dragging the pressure all the way up towards the hip. Change the position slightly and continue to pull up the quad. When you feel a tender spot that feels like a knot, you're going to apply pressure and shake it back and forth. Notice the rollers are not actually moving. The pressure just stays in one spot. When you finish about 30 pulses, continue the pull up the leg. If you find there's too much tension in the quad, straighten the knee and allow the leg to fully relax. This can help you get deeper into the tissue. Again, each time you find a tender spot, continue to relax into it. Create quick movements through the tender spots and finish with a pull up towards the hip. A more intense way to work the quads is laying in a plank position using a foam roller. In this position, you can roll up and down the quads looking for the most tender part. Once you find a tender part, bend the knees and then relax down slowly. Then flex into the foam roller by straightening your knees tight. After you complete 7 to 10 repetitions there, draw circles with the feet, both clockwise and counterclockwise. Relax and breathe, adjusting as necessary, making sure you relax the quad. The final and most intense work we're going to do is with the lacrosse ball. Laying on your stomach, use a book under the lacrosse ball. Place the lacrosse ball directly on the quadricep. You may have to move the ball around to find a few different spots that are tender. When you find the most tender ones, bend the knee, allowing the muscle to stretch, and then straighten the knee, contracting the muscle over top of the lacrosse ball. Continue this for 7 to 10 repetitions. When you find a spot that needs extra attention, get yourself a little more comfortable, allowing your head to rest. Change positions by rotating the leg in or out based on the type of work that you need. To work more medially, simply roll your body over, exposing more of the inside of the leg. The upper part of the leg is made up of 4 different muscles known as the quadriceps.
Because she went in at 8:30.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll share that out and let our ladies know too.
Okay.
Hi. Good morning. Just got done chatting with Randy about Erin. So they got her kind of figured out. Apparently the tendon, the work that they had done, seems to have stuck. So that's good news. However, she does still have the infection, so they got her on high-round antibiotics, trying to get everything figured out through that. So I can see, I forgot, I think. So yeah, keep praying for Erin. Looks like the surgery probably was done well, so that's good. But just figuring out now this whole infection thing. I posted an update for sque. There's an updated schedule, and that's on our Better Body Movement VIP page if you're curious. So it was just, it was a lot. I mean, they laid out every single day the things that have to go right in order to keep progressing through this. And apparently this is about a 100-day process. So it's not short. Sure. It's going to be a long process. So be praying for them through her transplant process. Kind of a big deal. All right. Otherwise, everything else is the same. Still praying for Carol. Post-knee surgery, just strength and movement. She seems to be doing well. The times I've seen her in here doing her work. So that's been pretty awesome to see. All right. Our verse of the day. For it is you who light my lamp. The Lord my God lightens my darkness. Psalms 18:28. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our core day here. Get our workout going, okay? So grab what you need for core day. Really, the only thing you should need is if you want a band for your knees, you can use that on the bridges. And then something to squeeze between your knees. So like a foam roller or a pillow, anything like that, okay? Let's go ahead and get started here.
Prepare for pelvic tilt.
And we're gonna do a pressure on that muscle.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Okay, here we go. Good pelvic tilts. Remember, as you get started with pelvic tilts, right, we want to think through the Kegel. So basically squeeze like you've got a fart that wants to come out, but don't let it. Okay, so squeeze there. And we do not want the butt cheeks to be what's squeezing tight. Okay, or it's like cutting off going to the bathroom. Okay, that's kind of the feeling we get to perform a Kegel. Once we have that Kegel set, that means the pelvic floor is tight. And when the pelvic floor gets tight, then we can create compression through the core. So think the small of the back, we're pressing that down nice and firm into the floor to create nice tight tension. Again, without using your butt cheeks. Okay, we do not want to be squeezing the butt on this.
3,
one core
2,
exercise to squeeze the butt.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, tilt with knee fall out. So again, as you get set, compress that core. Try to keep your shoulders down and back.
3,
as your knee goes out
2,
to the side.
1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, your knee goes out to the side. I want you to squeeze that back up into place, all the while holding that core firm. Again, one of the hard things here is as your knee goes out, especially that Kegel that you perform right away at the beginning, that might disappear, right? Try to keep that while you keep your compression and then go through the movement. Again, this shouldn't be super fast. Most of the time, if we're going fast or
That's
kind of
halfway.
quick through the movement, you're losing a lot of the contraction without even recognizing it. So part of this is recognize, right? Really think through what does it feel like through every component of my core while I try to create this movement.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good.
3,
Tight, tight, tight.
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Awesome. Okay, tilt with adduction. So remember, when we do this tilt, we're going to squeeze the core nice and tight, right? Kegel, then core, and then
3,
squeeze the knees.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, Kegel, core, compress, 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 squeeze those knees, release the knees, keep the core, then release the core. Okay, very distinct through the movement. I want you to feel each part. Okay, so right now it's just 4 steps. Core tight, right? Kegel and core, squeeze the knees, relax the knees, keeping the core tight, 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 then release the core. It should be on and off very deliberately for each part.
That's halfway.
Okay, first for the core, then for the hips or the knees squeezing together, right? Core sandwich is what I like to say. Again, do your best through the movement.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic
Good.
tilt with knee toward chest.
Awesome. Okay, this is more like a march, bringing the knee toward the chest, one at a time.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Again, remember, I do not want your hips to do what I call the Rubik's Cube, okay? When you go to lift one foot off the floor, your hip shouldn't be pulling and twisting up off the floor, right? We're compressing the core, keeping the low back on the ground, planted nice and firm, right? And we're not using the butt to stabilize, just the core. Try to shut your butt cheeks off.
That's halfway. Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
All right, this is the one you get to use your butt. So perform the Kegel core compression, then you squeeze your butt to lift
3,
your hips.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
And again, my 2 big things here. First, when you come up off the floor, when you lift, do not peel like a sticker. And then the same holds true as you go down, right? We're not rolling the back and peeling the back. What that means is as you set down, your ribs, low back, and hips should all touch the floor at the same time, okay? Core compressed, nice and tight, holding those shoulders
That's
down
halfway.
and back. Press tight, 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 doing your absolute best through the movement, okay? Tight squeeze. Again, don't peel. Do your core compression first, core tight, squeeze the butt cheeks, lifting, set back down, then release the core. Do it all over again. Okay, very distinct.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Awesome. Shoulder drops. Okay, set your shoulders down and back as far as you possibly can. Then
3,
hands towards the
2,
ceiling.
1. Shoulder drop.
So again, the purpose of this is we need to be intentional about shoulder placement. Almost all day long we go forward and up, right? We want to intentionally pull that in the exact opposite direction, okay? Squeeze your shoulders down and back. And that's the position we would want to be in if we create a push or a pull. Either way, We want the shoulders set in a stable environment to create or generate
That's
the impulse
halfway.
that we want. Okay, so right now it's just about getting those shoulders to be able to set back into place. So you're going to relax up, and then as your arm comes down, don't let your shoulder hang out up by your ear, right? Pull the shoulder down and back to that starting place, okay?
Three,
Very
two,
good.
1. Prepare for Deadbug.
Okay, Deadbug.
3, 2, 1. Deadbug.
Right, remember, ladies, as you go through this, do not overextend your core, okay, or overextend your legs. If you go too far to the ground, you end up feeling it in your low back, okay, and that typically is because the core relaxes, or the core ends up getting stretched too far, and it starts to pull the spine up, like this, right? So your leg extends, and your back starts to lift off the ground. That's a big problem, right? So don't extend so far.
That's halfway.
And keep that low back compressed nice and firm, right? Don't let anything change. There should be no shifting or shaking in the hips or the core, just good extension. Okay, nice and tight. Almost there, 10 seconds, do your absolute best all the way through. Re-squeeze the core, tight, 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 tight.
3,
Very
2,
good.
1. Long rest.
Awesome. Good job, Gail. I absolutely love it. Go ahead and keep or get a water break. Remember, round 2, we're going to try for 50% of the weight off your feet for each one of the movements, obviously, except the bridge. So as we get going, you should be lifting, right? Say your feet are on a scale, and the scale says 20 pounds. I want you to lift just 10 pounds of pressure. So your feet aren't going to leave the floor. You're just going to be firing the hip flexors for every single one of the movements except for the bridge. Okay?
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt.
Okay, get ready for those pelvic tilts. Again, round 1 or round 2, 50% of the weight.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Okay, so Kegel, core compressed, tight, tight, tight. Gently start just lifting or pulling the knees towards the chest, set it back down, and then relax the core. Okay, again, your whole point is that as you start flexing the hips to pull the knees up, you should be able to keep your low back on the ground, right? If you start lifting and it pulls your back up off the ground, you need to squeeze your core tighter. Your hips should not move. Your low
That's
back
halfway.
should not move. Good compression. Tight, tight, tight. Good firm squeeze. Doing your best all the way through. Tight core, pull those feet gently, set it
2,
back down, and
1.
relax.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, so same thing here. Okay, I don't want you to stabilize with your butt. Okay, I want you to stay core compressed, nice and tight. Pull a tiny
3,
bit off the feet,
2,
out to
1.
the side and back up.
Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
And I'm sure you will find that if you're doing this right, your knee might not go as far because your body's going to just want to roll with your knee. Recompress, hold nice and tight. Only go as far as you can with your pelvis staying firm. If your pelvis rolls with this, bad news bears. We don't want that, okay? Do your best to maintain a tight core through the movement.
That's halfway.
Very good, ladies. Re-squeeze all the way through.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Awesome. Tilt with adduction. So grab a pillow or a foam roller, whatever you have that you're able to work through this. Make sure you get a good tight core squeeze. Squeeze
3,
those knees together.
2,
Lift,
1.
set.
Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Release the knees, release the core. Okay, core tight, knees tight, tight, tight. Lift those feet, tiny, tiny, tiny. Set it back down, release the knees, release the core. Okay, if you can't do those very distinct or they all squeeze together and then all relax together, try again. Okay, making sure each one is happening when you demand it. Right? That's the whole point of trying to change your musculature, is to get out of this passive,
halfway.
my body just relaxes when everything relaxes and then it tries to get tight when I get tight. You should be able to have control over specific muscles in your body, whether you're using multiple or you're only using that one. Okay? Again, core compress, tight, tight, tight. Squeeze the knees, lift, set, release the knees, release the core.
3, 2,
Awesome.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt
Very
with
good.
knee toward chest.
Okay, tilt with knee toward chest. So we're marching again. Same thing here. Core tight. Gently be lifting 50% of the pressure off your feet,
3,
and then march.
2,
Right,
1.
returning to 50%
Pelvic
of the
tilt
pressure.
with knee toward chest.
Okay, so really the hip flexor on the front side of the hip that pulls your knee up, right? That should stay engaged. I don't want that to fully relax. And again, don't let your hips Rubik's Cube on the floor. They shouldn't twist and turn while you do that, right? Tight compression, core firm.
That's halfway.
Very good, ladies. Again, doing your absolute best all the way through. 10 seconds. Keep working through it. Again, don't let your other foot push into the ground. Keep it
3,
light on the floor.
2, 1.
Awesome.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Okay, tilt and bridge.
Three, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Okay, here we go. Pelvic tilt. Compress that core tight, tight, tight. Remember to perform that Kegel, right? And for some people, if you're just starting, the whole thing is just try to get that right before worrying about the movement, right? Kegel and core compression. I mean, you should be pressing down nice and firm. If you had a belt underneath your waist, right, you shouldn't be able to pull that belt out when your core is compressed the way that
That's
we're trying
halfway.
to compress here, okay? We're learning spinal bracing, right? Brace your lumbar spine so you have good control when you go to function through the rest of your body. Okay, very good. Awesome work.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Good. Okay, shoulder drops. Shoulders down and back as far as you can.
3, 2, 1. Shoulder drop.
Good shoulder drops. Compress that core nice and tight. Squeeze firm, firm, firm. Again, we're getting the shoulders out of the ears, pulling them down and back. Okay, tight squeeze, good compression. Good, ladies. Again, if you have shoulder issues, right,
That's
you might
halfway.
only go a little bit, right? You might not go all the way up to the floor. Just go to where pain starts, right? As soon as that pain starts, stop right there. Pull the shoulder down and back and return the arm. Okay, then go to the other arm. To wherever pain starts, stop, pull the shoulder down and back. This is not an idea of arm movement. It's about
3,
shoulder blade.
2,
Get those shoulder
1.
blades down and back.
Prepare for Deadbug.
Awesome. Then into the Deadbug. Fantastic. Or bird dogs. Okay, I will put on display bird dogs here. Just remember, when we do a bird dog, we don't want a
3,
cat or cow,
2,
right? We
1.
don't want the spine to
Deadbug.
change. We want it nice and flat. Hold that core compressed really tight. This one's the whole, you know, if you're on your hands and knees like this, imagine my boot coming into your stomach with a big old kick. Hold that tight. Hold and compress. One cool thing about the bird dog is you can really challenge neurological components in your stability as well. Just push out and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then return. Extend out on the other side. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Right, and these are opposites. We're not extending the same side simultaneously. We don't do that in real life. Right? I don't walk robotish. Where that side goes, this side goes, right? We have a natural tendency to alternate, right? Opposite hand, opposite foot. Work together through natural
3, 2,
functional patterns.
1. Long rest.
Awesome! Long rest. Get a drink, take a break, and then we will get going on round 3, which means we start lifting your feet off the floor if you can. Okay, so we'll always Kegel, pelvic tilt, lift the feet, and then do whatever movement we're doing. Okay, outside of squeeze your knees and the bridge. Okay, we'll work through those when we get there. But this first round, our first exercise, when it's just pelvic tilt, Kegel, pelvic tilt as tight as you possibly can. Peel your feet off the floor without letting anything change in your waist. Set your feet back down, then relax your core.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt.
So what I want most of all is for you to feel the movement, okay? Create your Kegel, core compression. Feel that
3,
as you
2,
start to lift your feet.
1. Pelvic tilt.
Nothing should change. It should feel the exact same. If when you go to lift your feet, you feel a shift or you start squeezing harder, I want you to take and squeeze that hard the next time you start. Okay? So the starting point should always be really firm, right? Really hard. If you start lifting your feet and you're picking up a little slack, okay, squeeze even harder before you lift, right? You should be squeezing 100% of that core muscle tissue before you ever even try to lift those feet off the ground. And then when you lift the feet off the ground, it should prove to yourself, oh yeah, I did that. And a lot of times it's neurological stimulation. So if you can't do it right now, that's fine. It's just continue to stimulate it, right? Force the brain to connect to that muscle tissue and say, I need to squeeze harder. Okay, a lot of what we miss as far as strength
3,
is neurological.
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
At some point, there are times through movement, our brain just shuts muscles off. It doesn't even communicate to them anymore that they should be the ones who do
3,
the work. So this
2,
is why we
1.
retrain those
Pelvic
patterns.
tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, core compressed, nice and tight. Again, lift the feet, then try to go knee out to the side. It's much, much more difficult because you have nothing holding your feet on the ground. If you're hovering those feet and you go out to the side, it should feel like your whole body, your hips, no matter what, are going to roll. Squeeze harder, reduce how far out it goes, and then squeeze back up. Again, your absolute best through it. That's all I ever want, is your
That's
best
halfway.
in order to get the activation that we need. Okay? It's all about the activation. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Get your brain to really fire and engage. Force the movement. Good compression. All the way, ladies, all the way. Do your best.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Awesome work, Gail. Absolutely love it. Okay, tilt with adduction. Remember, so this one changes a little bit. It's Kegel and core. Squeeze the knees, lift
1.
the feet.
Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Set the feet, release the knees, release the core. Okay, core tight, tight, tight. Knees tight, tight, tight. Lift the feet. Set the feet back down, keep your knees in core. Release the knees, keep the core, then release the core. Every single movement, distinct, distinct. All separate. Very staccato. Good, ladies, all the way
That's
through.
halfway.
All the way through, harder. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Get that core, get that core. Especially as you set your feet down and as the knees release, core tighter, then release the core. Again, you got this. Finish it through, core tight. Squeeze those knees, lift the feet, set the feet, keep the core and knees, release the knees, keep the core. Now release the core.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Awesome. Very good work, ladies. Okay, into the march. Marching those
3,
feet.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Okay, Kegel, core compressed. Hold that spine nice and firm. Hover both feet, lift one foot up, set back down to the other. And if you need to, set both feet down now. Lift your feet, pull up the other knee, back down to a hover, set both feet down. Re-squeeze the core, lift the feet, pull the foot up, back down to a hover, set down. If you want to take out the set down, if
That's
you can hold that,
halfway.
keep your core tight, both feet hover, one foot up, back down to both hovering, other foot up, back down to a hover. Okay, this is not a scissors kick. If you're moving both legs at the same time, that's not what I want. I want you to do it distinct and separate. 10 seconds, do your best, finish through, nice and tight,
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Tilt and bridge. Remember, your feet will not leave the floor on this one. It is almost impossible.
3, 2, 1.
Very
Pelvic
strong
tilt with
arms.
bridge.
So lift your whole body off the floor. And that's not the exercise. So, compress that core, squeeze those glutes, right? A big thing is how wide are your feet. I want your feet shoulder width apart or even just a little bit wider. Get those feet in a good place to where we can really engage the hips, get the glute medius and minimus to really fire because we're pulling those knees
That's
out.
halfway.
Right? Get the knees out. They shouldn't be kissing each other, coming in, smoochy smooch. I know it was just Valentine's Day, but keep those knees apart. Drive through those hips. Compress that core. Keep thinking through that continually as you go through your movement. Core tight, core tight. Right? If you lift the hips, the weight should instantly go into the shoulders. Right? Driving that upper back into the floor. Set
3,
back down.
2,
Awesome.
Prepare for shoulder drops.
2 more. Okay, 2 more. Shoulder drops. Remember, you can start by just reaching for your feet and then pinch your shoulders back.
3,
Reach for your
2,
feet, pinch your
1.
shoulders back.
Shoulder drop.
Right, get that set. Arms up to the point where it hurts. And then as your arms returning, you're returning the shoulder. Pull it down and back, down and back. Okay? Up, pull the shoulder, up, pull the shoulder. Okay, it's always returning to that starting position. Okay, we get to the halfway here. You might have to put your hands back on the floor, set those shoulders back down and back again.
That's
Raise up to the
halfway.
ceiling, and then do it again. Okay, whatever you need to get the most you can out of this movement, right? You should feel this one down through the lats. Okay, the backside of the back here through the ribs, because that is what pulls the shoulder into place. Okay? Good, good, good.